Hey guys, Mayflom here, and I've got these neat and tangled stamps, and I'm thinking I can make a bookmark with them. I think that would be really cute. So I've got some watercolor paper out here, and I was going to do archival ink, and archival ink would work well, but I'm thinking I'm going to do white pigment ink instead with embossing powder, because as I sit here and I've got super fine detail embossing powder, and the reason I think that is because I want to do kind of a galaxy look. I know that's super, like, everybody's doing that, super trendy and all that, but I think it'd be fun. So first thing I'm going to do is kind of figure out for my bookmark where I want these stamps to be. So I'm thinking you make life sparkle, so I want to play around with them first. I like to do that, so just kind of decide where I want it. And once I've got that, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim this out, and then what I'll do is I'll just pick these up with my stamp pad, or my stamp block. This is my ink pad. Stamp them with this. Now the reason I went pigment ink versus the watermark ink is this particular watercolor paper is really absorbent, and I'm afraid that the other kind of ink is not going to go well. I'm afraid that that other kind of ink will soak in so quick that I can't get a good emboss, and then we dredge it with the powder, shake off the excess, and then just heat set with the heat tool. I've got my nonstick mat here, and then I'm pulling out distress inks. And what I'm going to do is, I'm not even going to take out I was thinking about taking out my blending tool and this and that, and then I thought, oh, I just want to get on with it. So you could do this with watercolor, you could do this with Brusho. I may add Brusho in here, we'll see. So I'm going to take my lighter color and run it down the middle. And then I'm going to take a darker color and a different color. This is going to be fun. So I'm starting out, I'm just swiping here. And I'm not really swiping all the way to the edge. Well, I guess I just did. I'm probably going to trim this down a bit. We're not going to worry about that though. And then let's see, I've just got lots of different blues. Don't try to worry about it. Doesn't matter what colors of ink you've got, or if you're using watercolors, use what you've got. So then, just a quick little squirt with some water. And watch how that activates. And then I'm just going to take my finger here and roll it around a little. Oh, it's so pretty. And right around the words, I'm going to take a paper towel, and right around the words, I'm going to quickly just kind of dab off some of the color. Not the color that I'm after so much as the moisture. I don't want enough moisture to get all the way through and actually make problems for me by going like under the embossing and showing through. Although this is white, so it shouldn't. But, you know, if I ever feel like, I'm not so sure that's going to work, then put it over the words again. And you could use a brush, you can use what you want, but I'm trying to show you here, you don't need a bunch of tools. You can get your finger dirty, get your hands dirty, do a little creative fun. I am going to like this. So it's going to say, you make life sparkle, and I'm kind of building up the central color here first for a reason. The reason being, I want to figure out how dark do I want that? What do I want that to look like? I want to figure that out first. And the reason I want to figure that out first is because once I have that, then I can build darker. So now I've got scribble sticks. This may just become something where I just keep coloring with different colors. Okay, so the scribble sticks aren't going to be good. That's right. Those aren't going to be good for this, but the distressed crayons might be. So let me try a little of those. Because the paper, oh, that's darker than I wanted. That's okay. Because the paper is wet, I don't think I'll have problems with those. Put a little green there. Rub a little bit of it off, though. I don't love it. I don't know what I was thinking. My eyes were telling me look how close those are. This one is the peacock, which is the one I was meaning to grab. And I want to add a little more. I'm using my paper towel here. So I'm applying it over the words, because if I apply it over the words, then it just kind of makes blending it easier. There shouldn't be as much streaky color. Now I am going to want to be careful that I'm not warping this too much, or that I'm not causing too much problems. And I want to make sure I have a good amount of color out of under those words or around those words, so that when you look at it, you can tell what the words are. I don't want to make you squint at my bookmark to try to figure out what the words are. The rest of it I can play around with. So as always, we have options. We can go at this point, it's drying off pretty quickly. At this point, I'm thinking about taking some darker blue and to begin working the edges like so. I'm also thinking about, once it's fully dry, getting out those brushes and seeing what I can come up with. So the thing with this, with any color mixing you want to do, the way I feel about it at least, what I like is I like to play with it. I just like to see, put a little color down. All right, we got a little of that down. Now what? Just keep asking yourself, okay, now let's go with some purple. Now what? Put a little color down, see what you think about it. Whoa, that is a lot of purple. That really took over. Wow, that's funny. Okay, so I can always, look, I can always blend it. I can always pull a little color off if it's a little much. Although I really love that now. What I'm going to want to do is down here, I'm not sure why that purple came off so strong the first time. I'm going to blend a little more down here. All of these color mediums I'm using are reactive with water. And what that means to you is they'll react with water. It means that if you use them, you spray them, they're going to react. That is fun. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I do think I want to put a little bit of black around the edges. So I'm going to go like so with the black. Now I'm working with distressings, which means I know if I spray it with water, it's going to react. But I also know just because this paper is wet, they're going to react, or the colors are going to react to any moisture there. So I don't even necessarily have to do a lot. Just by it being there, it's going to react. Now with the purple, and then I've got the black edge, I'm going to let this fully dry. And then I can just, if I want it, once it's all the way dry, if I want, just repeat that and just repeat another layer of color. So I've got a little bit of Brusho out. Brusho is watercolored powder. There's lots of fun ways to use this, but I really am finding, man, do I love it for these kind of galaxy looking cosmic fun projects. So you can see that it's already spreading ever so slightly. Now watch what happens when I spray it with water. It's going to take over. There it goes. So the more water you add, the more it's going to blend and do its thing. I am going to kind of tap around my words because I want my words to be legible. I don't want it to dry on top of the words. Other than that though, I'm letting it do its thing. And I'm going to hit it with the heat tool just a little bit, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to hit it with the heat tool, just kind of clean up any moisture that's around on the mat, because I want it to do its thing, but I don't, if I see a spot where I'm like, I want it to be, more blendy. That's an official term, right? Blendy. If I see a spot that I want more blendy, I will go after that spot. Otherwise, I'm just kind of letting it do its thing. Let it dry. I am going to add some metallic next, and I'll tell you what I'm going to add. So there is a product, and I desperately wish that it would come back on the market. At this current time, you can get Perfect Pearls as a powder. You cannot buy it as a bottle of mist anymore, which breaks my heart because I've gone through about 10 bottles of this since it came out years and years ago, and it's my absolute favorite. I love it even more than the Heidi Swap Gold for this kind of project, and I'll tell you why. Because what I'm going to do is when I mist it, woo, uh-oh. Something went crazy there. Let me see. Okay. So there was something stuck on the entrance there, which caused it to make a stream instead of a gentle mist. So I think that's fixed now. Okay, so there's just a little dried thing there. So I'm going to spray it. I'm going to spray quite a bit on here. So here's the thing I love about this, why I love it more than anything. And why I'm so sad they discontinued it and how much I hope they bring it back. Just this one, just the Sunflower Sparkle. So what it does is it adds metallic finish but it doesn't add color. So what that does is when this project dries, you will see the metallic shimmer, and I'm not sure if it'll show up just yet. Yeah, it's starting to. Let's see if you can see that. It's going to add metallic shimmer, but when you look at the project from any distance, you're only going to see the color. It's when you look up close and really like investigate that you're going to notice the sparkle and shine, and I love, love, love that so much. So I am going to add a couple of dollops of Heidi Swap just to add another layer of gold. And yes, when I flick mist, I pull the top out and flick it. I just like the results better. Once this is fully dry, I'm going to add, it'll stiffen back up. So the paper is just fine. It doesn't need to be reinforced. Once it does stiffen back up, I'm just going to put some little ribbons up at the top there, and I have got myself a sparkly bookmark. This was so much fun to make. I love this Neat and Tangled stamp set. It's so much fun, and I love this trend of like these galaxy color, watercolory, blendy fun things. I just love it. I hope you have enjoyed this little project. If you're worried about the warping, and it is considerable right now, well, guess what? When it's dry, it's going to go in a book. So it'll flatten itself back out. As for the back, if it bothers you, cover it up. Final thought, if for any reason you're going to get your book wet, if you're going to the pool, you're going to do something of that nature, this project was a bad choice. And I said, I know you're going, May, why did you say that? Here's what I mean. This as it is not sealed. It is not set. If anything wet touches this, it will absolutely smear. If you want to take care of that, what I would recommend is getting some kind of clear gloss or matte finish if you prefer, some kind of something that's clear to coat over it to seal it. If you seal this, then you would be okay. If you sealed this in, then this would be set and you wouldn't have to worry about that. I just bring that up because I know it's one of those things where, you know, you're thinking, you're playing and then you're going, oh my gosh, why are my fingers blue? My fingers are blue because I keep playing with colors that keep reacting. So, and again, the back, you can cover the back with a different paper or leave it as is. I like to leave my bookmarks as is because I think they're fun. It's fun that way. And this one I intend to use in a book here at my house, not going near the pool. So I'm going to leave it as is and not coat it. If you did coat it, you'd want to go top to bottom, side to side, however you like, but do one swipe, walk away, let it dry. Do not try to rub and rub and rub. Do one full swipe of some kind of medium over it. Or if you wanted to get crazy, you could tap it with a embossing pad, clear embossing powder, and heat emboss the whole thing. I don't think I'd recommend that necessarily, but it is an option. You always have substitutions. You always have options with mixed media and playing with stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you can always leave me comments or shoot me an email, whatever. I always love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear your suggestions. Or actually, I'd love to hear, especially on this one, are you loving like all the watercolory fun stuff and the galaxy stuff, or is it not your thing?